Ice Cap, everyone's favorite gatekeeper level. A lot of people have trouble trying to speedrun this level, being consistent at it. So I'm gonna go ahead and break it down with every character and explain uh, almost everything you need to know to get through it, okay? So we're gonna be starting with Sonic. So you go down the slides, jump onto the platform, and what you wanna do is you wanna pause the game right around here. There are multiple visual references you can use, but me personally, I align the top of the platform with a bit of the background immediately to the left of it. This is the first frame where this trick will work. The next two frames will also work, so it's a 3 frame window. Um, from here, we just want to hold right and then unpause, and then we'll get slope glitch here. Now I just do a quick low jump, and there are two different things you can do here. One, you can jump immediately upon landing on the slope. However, I don't like doing that because there is a risk of accidentally running through the wall to the left. So in order to eliminate that chance, I actually delay my first jump. I land on the slide, wait a short moment, and then I do a quick double tap. The first jump actually won't get you off the slide because Sonic it will be like partially embedded in the slide. So you need 2 jumps to actually get out. And once you do those 2 jumps, you just hold down and roll. And this bit is a little bit tricky. I use the icicles on the right side as a reference. So once they are mostly off screen, like off screen by a few frames, you want to switch to holding left. And then for this slide, you kind of want to do the same thing. Once it is off screen by several frames, you want to switch to holding right. You don't want to do it on the very first possible frame that you can't see it anymore. Um, there has to be a little bit of a delay on both of these inputs. So like that. And then once Sonic grabs these rings and he goes past them, you want to switch to holding left again. And you want to pay very close attention to the background here. There are multiple possibilities. But basically I look for this area here. Once you see this, you need to start getting ready to jump out. Now, when you decide to jump out will influence where you wind up, and it's not always possible to guarantee where you wind up. So what I do is I just wait until roughly around here. Once the wall here is almost like aligned with the left edge of the screen, you want to stop holding left and you want to mash jump really fast. So over here, I believe I may be in the top tunnel. You can wind up either in the top tunnel or the bottom. Once that thing closes behind you, you'll notice that right here where I'm standing, there's kind of like a mound of snow. There's one here, there's one right here, and then this third one is what you want to shoot for. If you're Tails, you can actually just use the second one, but because Sonic is taller, and Knuckles as well, you want to use the third one. Stand roughly around here. Just note a visual reference that works for you. And then once you land on this bit, you'll gain a downward slope that allow you to go into the ground like this. So just hold right. You'll get the level wrap. And when you see that star post, that's how you know that you are in the top tunnel. So there's a bit of some extra steps you need to take here in order to get to the boss safely. Once you do the level wrap from the top path, you want to hold left for about 2 seconds, hold right for a second, and then hold left for another 2 seconds, and then hold right and jump twice. And what this does is it actually puts you in a tunnel off screen, and by jumping you go down the tunnel a little bit, just enough so that the screen lowers properly, and then it'll lock the screen when you trigger the boss. Once you see this here, this switch that's encased in ice, it's safe to jump, and then you can just land down here. Now, the last thing you want to do is you want to land on a little upward incline where that snow mound is, kind of like what we did before. So right around here is where you want to land. And then right before you touch the right edge of the screen, you want to jump to maximize the height you get. And you can very easily get an insta shield by doing that. Tails actually has a quick boss strat involving flight where you absolutely need to do this. I'm not going to be covering that strat in this video, but just so you know, this is how you would start the boss. So that's pretty much how you get through Ice Cap. I'm going to go ahead and switch over to Tails. There are some notable differences with him to cover. So this right here, as I said before, Tails' frame window for this trick actually starts 1 frame before Sonic and Knuckles. So this is the first frame that works for him, and the next 2 frames after that will also work. Just hold right, hit the slope glitch, do the same thing. Now, for the purpose of this video, I did actually make a save state here already. I'm just gonna go ahead and I believe so over here there are multiple options that he has because he has flight. So one thing you can do is you can wait until you see him on the screen here, and when you see him, mash jump, and you'll wind up in this position. Now, when you get this jump, for some reason the game actually lets you crouch now, and you can get a spin dash and just go over. Once you do that, however, you will not be able to crouch and spin dash again. So it only lets you do that 1 time. It's very critical that you do not land on this platform here. This platform is a sprite-based object. If you land on it, it will get rid of your slope glitch. So you want to come over here. This is the top path. And like I said before, Tails is short enough that he can actually use this second snow mound. And from here, you just pretty much do the same thing that you do as Sonic. This is the state. Okay. So this is roughly the same area that we were in. What you can also do is you can wait. And Tails, honestly, he has a lot of flexibility because of his flight. So you can time this in multiple ways. That's one way you can do it. And because he has flight, you can still salvage it by coming up here and repeating what I just showed. So here's one possibility. If this happens, you can actually just do this and jump down. I went too far to the right. But if you do that, you'll actually wind up in the top tunnel. Just don't do that. Don't go too far to the right. Now, here we go. So just jump down like this, and then you can zip out, and here we go. This is the top path again. So if we delay this a little bit more, and then jump, we'll get this. I believe this is the top path again. Yep. Ideally, you want to get the Knuckles path. But if you get the top path, that's fine too. There's just some extra steps you have to go through. And here we go. This should be the Knuckles path. So if you see this switch here encased in ice, you know that you're in the Knuckles path. Just hold right for about a second or two, and then release. And you don't really have to do anything else until you see the tunnel near the end. So this tunnel, once the screen catches up to about halfway through the tunnel, you want to jump. And then you just do basically what I said before, where you jump onto the mound, you get the upward angle. So as you can see, this bit right here, there is a lot of variance. Now, one thing I want to cover is this bridge right here is also a sprite-based object. So if you land on that at any point, you'll lose the slope glitch. Another thing I want to cover is where to actually initiate the zip here. If you wind up in this position, you'll notice there's a snow mountain here and a snow mountain here. You don't want to use those. You actually want to use this one here. Because if you use this one, you'll land right on that bridge. This is the one you want to use to get into the floor. Another thing to note is that if you are too close, like let's say if you use this here, you can actually zip into the ground like that. The screen locked, so I can't really show you well, but you can actually reset the game if you zip to the right, like going this way, and then zip quickly to the left again. You'll actually reset the game, so make sure not to do that. Alright, might as well just show it off here. So, like that. I just wanted to show that off to make sure that you know what it looks like. You definitely don't want to do that. So yeah, that's a few different possibilities with Tails. There are some other possibilities too, but for the most part, these are the ones that are the most common that you're going to be seeing. Lastly, I want to cover with Knuckles. I want to cover this with Knuckles because with Knuckles, there is a bit of some difference here. So over here, Knuckles can't just go down the slide because if he just goes down the slide, he'll actually break that wall, and you don't want that. You want that wall to remain intact. So what I do is, after a bit down the slide, I actually use these like diamond looking things. Once I reach like roughly the fourth one, I'll jump and then glide. If you do that, you can avoid hitting the wall. You can also just quickly do that, you know, if you want to be a little bit safe about it. Now once again, this is the first frame with Knuckles. It's the same as Sonic. So you want to start holding right. And over here, this is where things get different. Once Knuckles is roughly around the edge of the platform and like right before you touch the wall, you want to stop holding right. The reason you want to do this is because if you don't stop holding right, there is a chance that Knuckles will break the wall and you won't get the slope glitch. So you want to stop holding right, and Knuckles will get the slope glitch. Sometimes he'll get pushed to the left like this, but that's fine because he still has slope glitch. You just correct your position and do roughly the same thing. I kind of messed it up here. See if I can fix it. Now, this is where things get a little bit tricky because Knuckles, if you mash jump, you'll actually do his glide. But the thing about doing glide is that if you keep mashing jump, you're actually going to drop the glide. So you won't have any control over it after that. And unfortunately, there is a risk that if you jump at the wrong moment, you'll land on the bridge and lose the slope glitch. So right around here, I actually do wait a little bit longer than I would with like Sonic and Tails, just to like kind of push it, and then I'll mash the jump. And that's the top path. So we'll just show this off again. Alright, so you can see I wound up roughly in this area, and that's actually why I delay my jump slightly with Knuckles, because I don't want to risk dropping my glide and accidentally landing on that bridge. It is a little bit more of a risk because if you wait too long, then you'll actually just die. But for Knuckles, I mean, it is worth taking that risk to avoid the bridge. And since this is the Knuckles path, we just go in there, hold right, and then just keep holding right for about a second, and then we release. Now keep in mind that Knuckles does have a lower jump height, so there is a bit less leeway here for this jump at the end. Again, once the screen is like roughly around here, like halfway through that tunnel, that's when you want to jump. Then you just gain some height, and you can land on that platform and get some bounces. And that is Ice Cap. Like I said before, there are some other possibilities, some other things can happen. Now, one thing that I did not show, it's a little bit hard to get on command, but it is often enough that I do need to mention it. Sometimes during the fall, right before you have to jump out, you'll get hit by a spring, and getting hit by the spring will actually it'll actually slow your uh it'll change your fall. If you get hit by that spring, you can get into the Knuckles path guaranteed. All you have to do is tap jump one time. That's it. Um, if you tap jump any more than that, it's actually really bad if you're Tails because you'll get a flight and then it'll take a long time to descend while in flight. If you're Sonic or Knuckles, it doesn't really matter too much, just as long as you don't land on the bridge. Sonic and Knuckles they'll both land pretty quickly after that. Um, but just note that you don't actually have to mash jump. If you get hit with the spring, you only have to tap it one time. Um, when you hear the spring sound effect, you want to actually just wait like half a second and then tap jump. You don't want to do it immediately because then you definitely land on the bridge. But if you do that, you wind up in the Knuckles path guaranteed. And that is pretty much the ideal outcome if you can hit that spring. That's pretty much the best case scenario. So yeah, that's Ice Cap. Please let me know if I forgot to mention anything. Hopefully this clears up a lot of the questions people have about how to do the level uh, quickly. And if you're still having some trouble, chances are it's the whole left, right, left sequence, and you'll just have to get used to feeling it out. It does take practice to get used to, um, but once you get used to it, this is actually a very consistent method, um, and it's very fast. And every character has several options that they can do to make the most of this. So I hope you guys like the video, and yeah, please let me know if you need any further help.